you're so fascinating to me because you're this multi-dimensional human.
BERT KREISCHER.
Comedian BERT KREISCHER.
BERT!
He's the wildest. He's so much fun.
His new comedy special, Razzle Dazzle, often shirtless performer.
The Machine, and it's based on comedian BERT KREISCHER's hilarious story.
It can seem, on the surface, shirts off, hilarious as hell, filling up arenas all over the place now. There's a one-dimensional dude, I got it, there's a shtick there. Then you listen to your comedy, you listen to your routine and your life and how you actually got here, and there's a depth and dimension to you. What's the thing with you? Is it that you connect with everyday people?
If I can leave anything, my legacy, I would love for it. I'll get emotional. I get emotional thinking about this. Maybe just a couple times if people, when I'm gone, people just go like, man, it would be so much cooler if Bert was here. We'd have so much fun. Wouldn't it be great if Bert was here and he just walked in with a bottle of champagne and a crazy story, or just and I don't need it to be the world, just like a solid 100 people to just be like, man, can you imagine if Bert was here? That energy is what defines me. It's just like on a Sunday morning when someone opens a bottle of champagne and goes like, Bert would have brought a joint.
What is it that's made you in that seat right now ahead of almost everybody in your entire industry?
I don't mind failing. So the pandemic hits. Everyone in the country has to go home and not leave their house.
Yep.
I said I want to go on tour. And I reached out to my agents, my managers, and I said, find me drive-in movie theaters. On the very first night, it was amazing. I was sold out. And I think that's been my one strong suit, is just going, just f it, I'll do it.
Since 17, is that when you guys started having the bets with Rogan and those guys?
Sober October.
Sober October.
It was the first time we
rhymes
did
better
it.
than-
I remember going to bed that night and going, I f***ed up my career. And I didn't want to start drinking again. These chunks of sobriety gave me clarity, gave me grounding, the heart rate back into the 50s, and I found real joy in sobriety.
Is this what you meant when we were off camera? You said, I cracked the code on drinking?
I cracked the code.
Okay.
I was thinking today, I was like, should I have quit drinking earlier? If I'd done this 15 years ago, where would I be today? And I was like, you gotta get rid of that, because that 15 years of partying my off got me here, and I love where I am.
Hey, it's Ed Mylett. I just wanted to thank you for being here, and I would ask you to please subscribe to the show. If you just click the subscribe button here, I would really appreciate it. It helps the show grow so we can get even more successful guests on the program to help you. At the same time, if you're subscribed, you're going to get access to the programs before anybody else in the world gets access to them. So if you would, click subscribe right here. Thanks so much. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to share this very profound and deep conversation with BERT KREISCHER. You're going to hear Bert in ways that you have never heard from him before. We go very, very deep here. It gets very, very emotional, and I know you're going to love it. But what you are going to get from Bert that you are used to getting is a lot of adult language. And so I wanted to give you warning in advance, because you normally listen to my show. We usually bleep out the couple profane words. But there's a lot of them in this episode, because that's the way that Bert speaks, and we just decided there's too many of them to try to beep. All you'll be hearing is beeping. So I want you to know today's episode has strong language. The F word is used a lot in this episode. And so just wanted to make sure you knew that up front. If you've got young ears or ears you don't want to hear that language riding with you in the car or anywhere in the room with you, today you're going to hear strong language on the show. God bless you. Enjoy. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. I wish we were recording what we've been doing here in the last 15 minutes.
I'll say it again. Tom Segura is tedious.
Tom Segura is tedious. We're talking a bunch of crap, or he is, about Tom Segura.
If it wasn't for his wife, no one would like him. I'm being dead serious. Have you ever spent time with them?
I haven't. I spent time with her.
She is so enjoyable. You think Tom looks at you with sparkle in his eyes and goes, should we open a bottle of white wine? Never. Tom's on his phone. Fucking on the couch. Should we get ribs? She's the joy in that fucking relationship. Much like I am with Leanne. Leanne's dead inside too.
It's a great way to start. You bring me a lot of joy. I was telling you this off camera. So let's just start. You already know this voice. By the way, he's like everywhere right now. I mean, literally, right now he's got He's got the BERT cast. He's got Two Bears. He's got The Machine streaming on Netflix, which literally I texted him and told him, brother, you're incredible in this movie.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It's not only a great movie, you are incredible in the movie, even though you're playing yourself. That is not an easy thing to do. Your acting's outstanding.
It's easier than you think.
Well, you made it look that way. Actually, I'm doing it right now. I'm playing a life coach in a movie. I don't think it's that easy. Razzle Dazzle streaming on Netflix right now. This man is just blowing up all over the place. And he just makes me laugh and makes me think. And I watch him. There's something about him that he just like jumps off the screen, which we already did. Best intro we've ever had. So, BERT KREISCHER, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm a fan. I've been listening to you for a while. I have to. You have people on your show that I have to rewind 15 seconds and hear what they said again.
Yeah.
And I will say, the one you did with the dude, I don't know the dude, the white guy, kind of like
a few of those
nerdy looking. It's like most down, like 5 million downloads on it.
Okay.
And,
YouTube. Yeah, we don't do that great on YouTube. We do better on audio. I think probably Hardy, the 10X guy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the guy that's talking about intent and your thoughts, and
yeah,
it changed my fucking relationship this morning.
Really?
Yeah, because I got into a fight with my wife because my daughter had a migraine.
Okay.
And I got in a fight with my wife about it at 7 in the morning. I go to get coffee, and I thought, my thoughts are my reality. Now, if I'm going to be mad at this woman, which is silly, why would I be mad at her? She brings me so much joy in my life. Then that's my reality, but I can change my thoughts and have that be my reality. So I sat in gratitude, driving to go get coffee about how great this woman was. And I came home and I made a sincere apology and said, I'm going to try to empathize it with all the things. I want to hear your voice in this conversation. Really? So that, here's the deal. There's so much information out there that sometimes it's easy to poke holes in it. Yeah. It's easy to mock morning sun. We were just talking this polar plunge sauna. Yep. It's easy to mock all that shit. It's easy to pick apart David Goggins. You can, or you can opt in, drink the Kool-Aid, which I love.
Which you like a lot of Kool-Aid.
And look for the things that help you in life. That's all they're doing. That's all these people are doing. And my favorite one these days is blue-collar life coaches. There's a guy, Thrasher is his last name. I forget his first name. He just is real simple. This is my morning routine. Frozen ground beef on here. I cook my rice early. Folgers into the coffee. I like to set my coffee. I want it to drip early in the morning. And I go, that's my friends. That's all the dudes I work with doing manual labor.
Yep.
They're not going to dude, a fucking polar plunge is $12,000.
I agree with you.
Not everyone can get a fucking polar plunge.
That's right. Yeah, well, when I started teaching, I'm like, just turn the water on cold in the shower for 2 minutes.
Dude,
like, there are easy ways to do this.
My pool in LA is 58 degrees. It's cold enough.
Okay, real secret here, because I've been sent one of these and I do use my cold plunge, but the truth is I use my pool most of the time. It's cold enough. I'm in there. And the whole point of it for me, I know it changes your neurochemistry. The point of it is, to me, is what you said to me off camera. It makes me do something I don't want to do early in the day. I'm doing something difficult.
I love doing stuff I don't like to do.
I think that would surprise people about you, because you are like a disciplined guy. You do have these routines that you do. You are kind of into personal development and self-help. Yet there's the machine side of you that everybody sees, like, this dude's out of control. This dude's a big drinker, big partier, a lot of weed, dabbles in everything. And so this is why you're so fascinating to me, because you're this multi-dimensional human. And when people watch you, no, I'm being serious. I think when people watch you, it can seem on the surface, shirts off, hilarious as hell, filling up arenas all over the place now. There's a one-dimensional dude. I got it. There's a shtick there. Then you listen to your comedy. It's not shtick. You listen to your routine and your life and how you actually got here, and there's a depth and dimension to you that I think would surprise most people, including the fact that you're really a routine dude. You swim almost every single morning, right?
Yeah, I work out every morning. I have a trainer who comes to my house. I watch what I eat. I'm pretty strict on my diet.
You look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm down 40 pounds. And yeah, like, even with alcohol and with drugs, there's a speech I gave one time at Barstool that I did not mean to give. If I meant to give it, I would have put more thought into it, about how I'll never quit drinking.
Yeah.
I just was on a bender. We were in Florida. I fucking love Florida. And they're like, are you an alcoholic? Will you ever quit drinking, or whatever the question was? And I went on a rant, like, I'll never quit drinking. I'll get chill bumps talking about it. I love the impulse. I love to watch other people break. I love other people going, all right, I'll have one. We did it the other day, Thanksgiving morning. I had a bottle of Pappy. And I said, who wants to just a little sampler in the morning? I love when you get Darren Turbo to go, oh, fuck, I'll have one. I love that energy. It's like a first kiss. And you don't get first kisses when you're married, but you get these moments in life. And when my wife says to me, let's make a specialty cocktail and get in the hot tub, even if I'm not drinking, I go, fuck it, I'm in. I'm in. I love it. But I also love not drinking. I love sobriety. I genuinely enjoy and I savor sobriety because that feeling is just as fun. It's a joy. It's when you don't even realize.
Is that new?
I'll tell you what. Yes, I say yes because I've been dabbling in sobriety since 2017.
Did that start with? Let me just understand it. By the way, I heard that bit. Like, there's like this romantic relationship where you go on and on about alcohol.
I could write I could do poetry about alcohol.
I'm going to tell you, I thought about you because, by the way, everyone's always trying to fix you, which I think is really weird for such
Me
a high.
too.
No, you're such a high performing dude, right? There's nothing wrong with you. There's things you probably want to improve. That's by the way one of the problems with self-help. I'm broken, fix me.
Yeah.
How about you're actually pretty damn good? Maybe you want to make some improvements. But anyway, I listened to this thing. My dad got sober. One of the parts of my story is my dad was not like you. My dad was a dysfunctional alcoholic. And when he got sober, I know I'm tied into the sobriety world pretty deep because of that. And I heard that bit, and I've heard you do it on Rogan's show before too. And I'm like, this dude, for him to get sober, he doesn't like it. He loves it. There's a romantic relationship to it with him that was pretty deep, right?
Yeah.
So I remember hearing that thinking, man, this will be a difficult thing for him. So, but since 17, is that when you guys started having the bets with Rogan and those guys about, hey, we'll Sober November or whatever it is?
Sober October.
Sober October.
Was the first time we did
better
it.
than Sober November. That makes sense.
And it's interesting because at that moment, I think I was very tied to getting fans and kind of polarizing my group. Getting my group to finding fans is really tough. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's the hardest struggle you'll have in comedy or in anything. Really.
Yep.
And I remember going to bed that night, laying in bed and going, I fucked up my career. I was honest with. I'm always honest, which is a fault of mine. But I said I'm gonna tell exactly how much I drank, and I did. And I was afraid people would see it as sad, or I'd lose people by going sober for a month.
Yeah.
And I did it. I had a fucking blast. I really had a blast. And on that last night, we were in New Orleans, and I didn't want to start drinking again. And then I did, and I loved it. Turned it on way too hard on the Impractical Jokers cruise, but I found that these chunks of sobriety gave me clarity, gave me grounding. They get my resting heart rate back into the 50s, like just health.
Yeah, I wish mine were in the 50s.
Oh, I track my resting heart rate.
I know you do.
Religiously. I'm a big fan of Whoop, but it wasn't until I did this last sober run was like 83 days, and I got to be honest with you. I really think the challenge, if you're a big drinker, give yourself a large chunk of time to sit with yourself. Sit with yourself, and I found one day I was in my backyard, and I was smiling. I was just smiling, and I went, whoa. Like, it caught me off guard. And I thought, where's this coming from? And I found real joy in sobriety, real joy in my dogs. I was taking time with my dogs and like really playing with them. Yeah. And my wife and I we're going through a thing with like, we're really good right now, really good. Like we don't deserve to be that good. Cool. And I found this really joyous sobriety, and I didn't want to let go of it. And when we went on my cruise, I knew I was going to drink. I saw that. And I was terrified. I was white knuckling drinking again because I was like, really? Well, yeah, because I was like, I don't want to get rid of this. Like, it feels so fucking good. Mm-hmm. And I drank on the cruise. I had, one of the most spectacular times of my life on that cruise. Really, honestly, I was still tethered to that joy and being able to appreciate the joy in other people and having fun and connecting. I was grounded for real. Drank in the Cayman Islands with my wife for a week. I mean, really partied. Mm-hmm. And then I came home terrified that I'd lost it. I fucked it up. I remember I drank in Miami at the airport. I had stopped drinking on flights, but I drank in Miami at the airport and drank on the plane. I hadn't drank on planes in a while. I was like, it's fucking gone. And then didn't drink when I got home, thinking, let's see if we find it. And 2 days later, it showed up. And
what do you mean it showed up?
So, joy.
Okay.
I walked out of our podcast studio. I was barefoot. I was in jeans. I didn't have a shirt on, and I just was like, hey, I'm going to go pick up Isla from the bus. Mm-hmm. And I was there. And I went, oh, shit, it's back. I got so excited about having that joy that I went, it's 2 days away? So, like, all you're saying is I got to have one rough day. One rough day of like, hey, I wish I could have, let's open a bottle of wine, that shit. Just say no to it. And then honestly, the next morning, and that night might be a little rough, especially if you tie one on for a week. Yeah. But then it's back. And I have been playing with this. I've been.
Is this what you meant when we were off camera? You said I cracked the code on drinking.
I cracked the fucking code.
Okay.
I really did.
What does that mean?
It's still a thought going on, so I apologize. And if you're listening and you're a big drinker and you're thinking I have any answers for you, just pump the brakes a bit.
I will second that.
There's a thing that happens with every addiction where you have an impulse. And I was forced to do this when I quit drinking and I started eating right.
Okay.
My impulse, I was totally carnivore. My impulse was to have a snack, to have mashed potatoes or mac and cheese, and I just said no. It's amazing when you quit eating like shit. That first day you'll go to that fridge 8 times and open it.
True.
And go, I can't have anything in here. That's the impulse part. The impulse is real. It's going to show up. You got to let it show up. That's the natural progression. But then at a certain point, you start remembering, I just don't go to the fridge. And then you stop going to the fridge. And once I started sitting with that moment, I journal about it. I have a thing called a happiness journal where I quantify the things that make me happy. Yeah. I started going, that's just impulse. It's not real. It's just impulse. Impulse is always going to be with me. The questions are, when do I give in to the impulse? When do I allow it? And when do I not allow it? And I started finding joy in not allowing it and realizing it's a fleeting thought. It's going to show up. Let it show up. Sit with it. Really sit with it and go, where is this? And then journal about it. Think, why am I thinking this? Let that journaling period, and halfway into journaling, you'll go, hey, the impulse is gone. That's so fucking crazy. I wonder how long I can go again without that impulse, and then quantify it. Wait till that impulse shows up again, and then literally one day you'll go, that was 3 hours between impulses? I can do 3 hours. If I just sit with this, it'll be gone for 3 hours. And then one day it turns into 9 hours. And then one day you don't even think about it, and you're like, fuck. And then one day it's Thanksgiving morning, and you're thinking, let's open a bottle of Pappy. That's not impulse. That's living your life right.
Yeah.
And then you just go, hey, let's do it. And then your dad has one, and you have a moment. Maybe you go out, you have a cigar. Maybe I brought a sneaky beer into the sauna with me. I hadn't done that forever. Put it in the cold water. I get the water out of the Polar Plunge, put the sneaky beer as an IPA, put it in the Polar Plunge water, sit in the sauna, and slow roll it. And really enjoy it. Really enjoy the grapefruit flavors. God, those things are beautiful.
Do me a favor. Like the next time, if you go off the rails,
I'll tell you what's going to happen.
But if you do me a favor, and then you tell me what's going to happen. Because that's one of the best clips that's ever been on the show. Right there. The last 4 to 5 minutes. And there's been some amazing moments. I get emotional. I've been blessed to sit in front of some amazing moments the last 7 or 8 years. That was one of them right there. And so if you get off the rails, I'm dead serious, brother. I want you to go back and listen to what you just said the last 4 or 5 minutes, because that was profoundly true. One, if you can find some joy in not drinking, most alcoholics can't find joy in sobriety.
I just read Matthew Perry's book during that. I got, the phone listens to you, and a lot of stuff comes up when you're not drinking, and you're telling people you're not drinking. And Matthew Perry's book, he said his first few times through rehab, I think maybe all his times, I don't want to paraphrase him, but he couldn't find the joy that people were finding.
Yeah.
He didn't know if he had fucked it up through opioids or whatnot.
He had fried his circuits.
Yeah. And I said, whew, thank God I'm not there. And luckily I've journaled about it so much and had so many conversations about it that I will listen to that. I will listen to it because that joy is there for everyone. You just got to let it happen. You can't force it. I have a buddy that went through rehab recently. He hasn't found it yet, and it bums me out that he hasn't found it because it's all around him. I'm seeing it. I was at his house 2 nights ago, and it's just there. It's flooded. But sometimes you get so caught up in that impulse. Is just so many. It's in your ear going like, dude, are we drinking? Are we drinking?
Right.
They're opening wine. What the fuck, man? No one offered you a glass?
Well, that's what they call the obsession, right? So what you're saying here, most alcoholics, especially people in AA, will talk about the obsession. By the way, forget alcohol. Everybody listen to this. You're like, I'm not an alcoholic. Your obsession could be worry, anxiety, fear.
Anxiety?
Which is a huge E for me, too.
Anxiety was with me last night. Anxiety was with me last night. I stopped breathing. I was breathing, but I was having a hard time breathing. Whether it was allergies or we made a stew, whatever it was, we were watching a documentary called Buried on Netflix, and I was noticing I was having a hard time breathing, and I said to myself, this isn't real. You're still here. You're still here. Let's take a minute and think about how much time we have in between these thoughts. And I said, I'm not breathing. I'm having a hard time breathing. And then I dropped the remote into the recliner and I broke it. And my wife and I had to pull it out. And I got done getting the remote out. And I said, I'm not breathing. And I went, oh, wait, I wonder how long that's been between that moment where I didn't think about it once. I went, this is my fucking brain. This is my brain. I love my brain. It gives me all these great thoughts. I got to allow it to do this in order to get those great thoughts, because I was terrified when I got to bed I would have anxiety about breathing. And then I got in bed, I listened to one of your podcasts.
Good, thank you.
And it went away. It was and
what you're learning to do, Bert, a little bit. And by the way, I this is so good. I had no idea we were going to go there, and like here we're already going. When you can learn to be the observer of your thoughts, what you said earlier, so I'm going to sit with this for a minute, but also get outside your thoughts and like observe you thinking, then they don't control you. And you don't have to believe everything you think, by the way. But the observer of a thought and becoming self-aware like that doesn't mean you fixed everything. And I'm not saying that we're not going to see Bert on social media 6 weeks from now going, hey, man, I'm on another.
Or tomorrow night.
Or tomorrow night. However, what you're starting to build, though, is like this like toolkit of functionality that can pull you out of spirals when you have them. Here's what you and I have in common. That's super accurate. I'm kind of obsessed with death. Right? And,
oh, yeah.
And I know you are, too. Like, you said you used to fear it more than you do, but like I am obsessed with it. When I say obsessed with it, like I think about it a lot, but it actually gives me a lot of peace. So I was with my dad when he took his last breath. I was literally right there with my dad. And it like dawned on me when he did it. And after he passed away, my mom and my sister, we had to wait for the hearse to come. It was like an hour and a half. My mom and dad my sister and my mom, my sisters, they don't want to be in the room with him. So I'm in there with my dad alone. Just me and my dad. Right? And like,
I'm sorry. Yeah. I just can only imagine me going, hey, you faking it?
Well, I literally, with it sound, I'm going to be real with you, like their body twitches and stuff. I'm like, a couple times like, he's back, right? And even when he was passing, like their heart rate will go to nothing and it's gone, and you're like, they think he's gone, and then it comes back. So there is a little element of that. It's a really deep thing, and it's
I'm glad I know that now.
Yeah, you should know that in advance. Everybody should know that in advance. Anyway, at some point that stopped, and we were there, and it dawned on me, like, you start running memories of your dad, of your life, right? Like, this is the most important man in my life, of my entire life, is my dad. You're the most important in Georgia and Isla's, right? Like, there's no other man that'll ever be that important. Their husband will be, but there's something with the dad. And so I'm just thinking of memories of my dad and, different things. And then as you look around the room, like pictures of our family there, some of my dad's awards are there. And it just dawned on me, like, at some point I realized, actually, my dad's not here. Like, his body's there, but my dad's gone. Whatever you want to call it. In my case, it's a soul. I know we're being serious here.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. Their spirit, their life force, whatever. In my belief, in my faith, it's his soul. He's gone. So I'm like, it just dawned on me, man, like, my dad is in his body. And then who was my dad? My dad's not his body, so he's this energy, this life force. And when my dad died, in the room he was in was his body. He wasn't that. Was all of his awards. He wasn't any of his accumulations. We were in his actual house. He didn't get to take his house with him. His car was in the driveway. He didn't get to take his car with him. When my dad died, he had worries and fears and anxieties and problems. He didn't take those with him. So you can't take any of that crap with you. Like, physically, my dad was gone. So he's not his house. He's not his cars. He's not his awards. He's not his worries. He's not his fears. He's not any of those things. What did he leave? What did he leave? My dad left two things. My dad left us. Yeah. He left us. He left his family. He left the lessons we learned, the memories we had, all that other stuff. And then he left all the other people that he helped. My dad helped like several thousand people go get sober and blah, blah, blah. In your case, just remember this. Like, you can't take all this shit with you anyway, but you get to leave all the people you made laugh, all the lives you changed. And I'm being very serious with you. Millions and millions of people you brought joy to. Maybe it's just for a freaking hour of their life. They're like, man, that night with Bert, I was there that night at Red Rocks, right? That one night with you, they remember that the rest of their life. You get to leave that here. You get to leave Isla. You get to leave Georgia. You get to leave Leanne. Like, those are the things that matter. And the reason that that's so powerful for me is when I walk out and there's 30,000 people, I don't have the anxiety that I normally have.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be gone anyway. I don't get to take, but I get to take away all the difference I make for those human beings when I speak. So I really value you, bro. Like,
thank you.
I really value you, but I don't know if that helps you or not. But like, for me, it's like some of this stuff we get caught up in all the time. Like, you can't take any of this stuff with you.
No.
Does that make sense? I'm just watching your face.
Yeah. No. It leaves an impact because you think of all the things you've put out. Like, I think of Jimmy Buffett. and I still get his joy.
Yes.
Like he left it, and I love Jimmy Buffett or Jerry Garcia. I still get their joy. Like I still get to listen to Althea.
Do you know what a blessing it is that you have what you have?
I kind of do. That sounds really crazy, but I have in the moment on stage thought, this is really cool. You get to take people out of their memory, out of their thoughts for a second, and you get to get them to be present and laugh. And I've said this before. If I can leave anything, I would my legacy. I would love for it. I'll get emotional. I get emotional thinking about this. Maybe just a couple times if people, when I'm gone, people just go like, man, it would be so much cooler if Bert was here. Like, God, we'd have so much fun. Like, wouldn't it be great if Bert was here and he just walked in with a bottle of champagne and a crazy story, or like, I just like, I mean, I don't need to cure anything, but like, just for people to go like, God, man, I wish he was here. That would be so fun. Like, just, and I don't need it to be the world. Just like a solid 100 people to just be like, man, can you imagine if Bert was here? Like that energy. I think it's what that energy is what defines me. It's what I've always wanted and searched for as a kid. Is I wanted people to like miss me. And like I noticed that like at a certain point, like if I left the room, no one cared, and if I wasn't there, no one was like, "Where's Bert?" I feel like I'm just building to hopefully get it to the place where people go like, "God, man, like wouldn't it be cool if Bert was here?" I know my daughters will say that, but that's it. Just like on a Sunday morning when someone opens a bottle of champagne and goes like, fuck, Bert would have brought a joint.
Bro, you have said 3 or 4 things today, like in the history of the show, are like my favorite things ever said. And the reason there's a bunch of people crying with you, one, they want that too, and some people are sitting there going, I wonder if anybody would miss me. And you were born to do something great with your life, everybody. It doesn't mean you're going to be in millions of people, but someone ought to miss you. There ought to be a difference you've made. And if right now, if this was the last day of your life, the final chapter, you go, I don't know who would miss me. That's an indicator you need to make some changes, an indicator you need to pursue your dreams. That was like, bro, like, I had no idea where we were going to go today, and I'm so grateful that we went where we went.
So glad. I'm so happy you asked me to do this.
Bro, like, honestly, like, come back every couple years and let's just sit down and figure out where you're at. Plus, I want to be, and please take care of yourself. Like, we would miss you. Like, we don't want you to leave sooner than you need to leave here. If I asked you this question, because I think a lot of people hear feedback as criticism. So when
that's a fucking powerful statement.
Yeah.
Because
how do you hear it? When you hear that from people, you've got this number. You got a movie that killed it. You got this dude fills up anywhere he wants right now, and he can do it multiple days. Bert does. You're making a ton of money. Podcasts are crushing. You know, your life is really, really good right now. There's probably a party that's like, hey, if this is, do you know who you're dealing with here? Like, I'm pretty functional. So do you hear feedback, even from dudes who love you, as criticism? Because most people, that's how they hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what stinks is that when I was at my lowest, and my lowest was these past probably 7 months, starting in January, I did a European tour, then I did an arena tour in the States, and then I promoted the special. I then went to an Australian tour in arenas, and then I did another arena tour, promoted my movie. I did my Fully Loaded tour, which was 6 weeks, I think, this year. Then did the cruise, and the cruise was right before that, but I was at my lowest, and everyone noticed. And I will say that I got texts from everyone. One of them was Tom's agent. I just apologized to him the other night. He texted me, I'm worried about you, whatever, this and that. And I was like, whatever. Ran into him at dinner in New York with Tom, and I said to him, hey, man, you're not my boy. You're not my wife. Go fuck yourself. If you want to be in my life, sit down and have a drink with me, but I don't even want to hear a word out of your fucking mouth. You don't spend time with me. You don't know what my life's like. I don't want to hear a fucking word. I said that to Steve Byrne. I said that to Tom. I said that to Joe. I said that to fucking everybody. Because at the time, what I was like, It when someone's concerned about you, you don't hear it that way. You don't hear you hear them saying I'm better than you in some way, or I got my shit together. You need to get your shit together. I don't know what you hear, but I did not hear it well, and it wasn't until I realized, it was my daughters who said they were worried about me. My daughters, when they went on tour with us for Fully Loaded, it was extremely stressful. I had a stalker trying to kill me. It was like really bad. Serious? Yeah, it was really bad. And by the way, I got all this is just it's bubbling over. It really is. And both my daughters at the end of Fully Loaded. Now, granted, Fully Loaded is with the 32 best comics in the world. Every week it's a new 10 comics. It's my best friends, the funniest people in the world. And we're cracking beers at breakfast. We're eating mushrooms. We're smoking weed. We're drinking at the show. We get on a tour bus. We party at night. It's fucking fun as fucking shit. I'm 275, but I'm not 300 pounds. So and I'm benching 225 10 times. I'm strong as shit. I feel good. I feel like shit. I feel like shit probably, if we're going to be very honest. And my daughters both said at the Gorge, I killed 4 beers at the end of the show. Last show, I killed 4 beers, and one of them was an IPA. And I snapped. I was like, who the fuck gave me an IPA, to kill? It was my daughter, Georgia.
Oh, gosh.
She goes, sorry, I don't drink. I don't know what a Bud Light looks like.
Bless her heart. Yeah.
And then, and we're all sitting, and we got home, and Isla said, you're drinking a lot. And I was like, really? And my sister's like, you look like I want to put a needle in you and just watch you deflate. You look bad. Georgia said, you're red all the time. Your face is just red. Now, my face is normally red because I was out in the sun in Florida as a kid. And that's when I kind of took, I assessed where I was. And I was like, I was never meant to be 275. I was never meant, drinking now is to getting me through the day. And I say that I wasn't like an early morning I need drinks kind of guy, but it was just always there. And we'd go to play golf, and we'd be like, fuck it, let's just do a double Tito's and soda just to start, and everyone's fun. And when my daughters and my wife said it, I was like, all right. And then I was just like, I'll do a cleanse, drop 15 pounds, start all over. And then at the end, I went to my cardiologist, and I was trained for it. I didn't drink, took a Xanax going in, get my blood pressure down. My cardiologist is like, yo, what's going on? He's like, you're the fattest you've ever been, and your blood pressure is 120 over 80. I don't believe this.
Right.
And that's when I think I started this journey of going, if I want to continue my lifestyle, which I do, then I need to be in control of my lifestyle. And I ran into a guy, I was in Austin, and I ran into a guy who was like, you're not as fat as the internet says. And I was like, huh? He's like, oh, there's a Reddit thread about an over-under on when you die. And by the way, that death thing is very real. It's not going to show up. There's not going to be huge things that show up before you die. That's right. Just one day you have a heart attack.
Yep.
One day you are pushing it too hard.
Yep.
And
you have a fear of that?
Oh, not as much not drinking.
Okay, not as much not drinking. So the decision for you long term is just going to be this. Can you moderate it, and can you regulate it? And that's what you're going to have to decide. Let me ask you this, though, because here's the hard part for you. By the way, this is true for anybody with anything they're doing that they think doesn't serve them. You do it because there's an upside. You don't do anything because you don't get something from it, right? And so your career is sort of tied. People kind of root to see you do crazy things. Right? Like part of it is, I actually think you would be just as successful without it. I don't think you think that, but I think you're that funny. I think you're that talented. But
I would argue the same. I think I'm funnier. I think I'm funnier. I know I'm funnier without alcohol. If I'm on stage, if you've seen me on stage, chances are I'm 100% sober. Lately, during Fully Loaded, I was pretty wasted on all those shows. But I for specials, for when I tour, I'm primarily sober on stage.
Rank yourself on this 1 to 10 as a businessman, a comedian, as a star. 1 to 10.
I would say as a businessman, I'm a solid 7.
Okay, as a stand-up,
a 10.
A 10. As a dad.
I think I'm a slow building 6.
Okay.
I think I I have built myself to like a really good 6. And I say that because I'm also very self-deprecating. So I would never. My wife was, if she was here, she'd say 10. But like I apologize to Georgia 2 nights ago. She's home from college, and I just said, I raised my voice a lot to you when you were like 15 to 17. I raised my voice a lot, and I said, and I'm really sorry about that. I really regret that, and I need you to know that if I could take anything back, it would be that period during the pandemic when, towards the end, and she was growing up, and so I'm getting better. But I'd say solid 6.
See, me, I evaluate all that like businessman. I think I've done, pretty well on that, all that stuff.
Yeah, you're a 10.
But I ask myself, now that I'm 52 and both mine are out of the house, you got one out of the house and Isla's still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be my answer too. Be like a 6.
Yeah.
And
hey, listen, let me tell you something.
yeah.
I don't mean to be shitting on any of my friends.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that are 55 that have kids that are like 2 and 3. And if you ask them, they're going to tell you 10. They don't fucking know.
They're wrong.
They're a 4.
They're a 4.
They're a 4. They don't fucking see it.
Yep.
And it's like only at a certain point of hindsight do you start realizing, God damn it, I fucked up a lot. I parented the way my dad parented, and I thought I wasn't. And I had to grow, and I had to learn that if when they fucked up, I took it to a level 10, then they realized, well, fuck, level 10's where it goes every time. I might as well lie, cheat, and steal because I know that that's what it is. And then you got to be in therapy to go, okay, now I need to reset. Now that parenting that I was at a 4, I just dropped to a 2 because I got to build back up to the 4.
Yeah. But both your girls know you love them and believe in them.
Both my daughters are hyper aware. I love them more than anything in the world, and I believe in them 100%.
I'll tell you something to remember for what it's worth, because I bet you're higher than a 6. The number one thing that my dad did that was negative with his drinking, I'm going to tell you what it was. It was not that he would misbehave when we'd go out in restaurants or that he was a jerk or that he, got aggressive. The insidious thing that my dad's drinking did is I worried about him.
Well.
And that's the thing, bro. It's like I created internal stress and he created in me, my dad created in me, this dude who sits here today who has hundreds of millions of dollars, popular show, great friends, blah, blah, blah. And I chronically worry and have anxiety. And the reason I think I have chronic worry and anxiety is I'm familiar with it. Yeah. And we move towards what we're most familiar with in our life. And when I was a little boy, and I loved my dad, I would worry he was going to leave. I would worry to get killed. I was worried he was going to die. I was worried he was going to get in a car accident. I was worried he was going to get in a fight, And he wired into me to be a worrier, and it's a repetitive thing I've done. And that's the one thing that you should always govern and watch with your girls, is that do they worry about their dad? They love him, they're proud of him. He's an amazing provider. You on the road 1 billion nights a year and all the things you've had to do in the travel show and all the stuff to get where you are, they're damn blessed. But you don't want to wire into them this repetitive thought of, I worry about my dad. I stress about my dad. That was the number one thing. Now that I'm an older man, I had anger issues because I watched my dad be angry. My dad raised his voice a lot in the house. I've had a little bit of that too.
That was how you parented back then.
Right, exactly.
And we respected it.
But the big thing was, man, I worry a lot. And where's this come from in me? Where's this come from? I know where it comes from. I worried about my dad. That's what it was.
My daughters, I think there was a period of time where I think they definitely worried about me. Mm-hmm. I think everyone worried about me. Mm-hmm. I did internally, but I think if I could, I was thinking today, I was laying down in the gym, mm-hmm. and the sun was hitting my face, and I thought, should I have quit drinking earlier? Mm-hmm. Like, should I have done this? If I had done this 15 years ago, where would I be today? And I was like, you got to get rid of that, because that 15 years of partying my dick off, mm-hmm. got me here, mm-hmm. and I love where I am. Yeah. So I was like, I'm cool. I'm cool with where I am today. You're the most amazing dude. Well, first off, nobody at your level of success is dishonest about their real life. No, man. I'm you're helping humans right now. You make a lot of people laugh, but this stuff that you do, when you do it, dude, right. There's a lot of people that you're helping right now, because it might not be booze. It might be they're addicted to, they spend all their money. They're gamblers. They're whatever. But there's something most of us have that we know doesn't serve us in our life. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to navigate, do I need to stop doing it? Can I have a relationship with it? Can I dance? Can I modulate it? Is there a way to keep it in my life? Because I like elements of it. Yeah. Right?
And in your life, you're just fascinating to me because you step back, you listen to this dude. If you didn't know otherwise, you think, oh, this guy, this is one of them. I mean, you're humble and you're living it, and you're afraid it's going to go away, so you don't realize. But like you're in the prime. You're having a level of success in your life, financially, notoriety, your reach, and even today, like who you're going to help today. That's a rich man's life. Like you have a very rich life. Like more than 1/1,000,000th of 1% of all humans ever get in the world where you are. And so it's important everybody hears both sides of this at the same time. This man, the machine, everyone knows the story. If you don't, go watch the movie. We're not going to talk about that version of it today. But it's rather unbelievable that you're this honest and vulnerable about your real life and your frailties and worries and thoughts at your level.
I think it's irresponsible if you don't.
Well, I mean, then everybody's irresponsible because everyone's putting a mask on and faking it 99% of the time. And you've had them on your show. I've had them on my show. They're sitting right across from me. I'm like, I know you're not telling me the truth right now.
Yeah. Well, I think I've tried to be honest in every respect, even when I fly in private jets. Like I have friends that all fly private, and they're like, "Don't post it." I was like, "Hey, man,
I love when you talk about
just so you know, like it's the coolest thing you're ever gonna do."
That's right.
I'll tell you how much I spent on it. I'll tell you what it cost me. I'll let you know what I could have bought with that money. But I'm gonna fucking post. That's what a regular person does.
Right.
If you can stay as regular as possible. And just don't lie, and just don't go like I'm this. I want you to think I'm something other than I'm not. I think I've done that aggressively with my partying. I've done it with my relationships. I've done it with my relationships with comics, which I regret at times. I've spoken about casually about things I never should have opened my mouth about. I don't do it about politics. It's the only fucking thing I've done.
You've avoided that pretty well.
Well, I just don't know anything. And so, like, I'm not that smart. Like, last night I woke up at 4 in the morning, I listened to a podcast on the Rothschilds, and I was like, note to self, never bring up the Rothschilds.
I'm way out over my skis.
Listen, I don't want to find, you don't know anything.
Is there a part of you, because you're so humble, I have, like, massive imposter syndrome.
Oh, and if you don't have an imposter syndrome, you're an imposter. Like imposter syndrome's real. It's authentic. When we bought our big house, like the one we're in now, I was so terrified to post any video on social media because I didn't want anyone to think I had money. I didn't want to lose the who I was and like show my backyard. I have a beautiful fucking backyard. And I will say this. I worked very hard to earn that backyard. Sure. I got very lucky to marry a wife who can recognize good properties, but I was terrified to show that. And I hardcore consistently live with this imposter syndrome.
I'm afraid things are going to go away. That's what I worry about.
Yeah, of course, because they do. Because they do. Because they do.
You do.
They do for everyone. They do for everyone. They do for everyone. It goes away. It goes away. You get a little heat. And the world loves you. I'm watching it happen to Matt Rife right now, where they're attacking him. He had it, and I'm not saying Matt Rife's fame is going away or his success is going away. I don't think it is. For Matt, I think he's gonna have a long, beautiful career. But the world loves they love to celebrate you, and listen, I'm sure I'm guilty of it too. You know, someone pops. And then, in a weird way, you sit back in the cut and go, "What are they going to find?" You know, like it's
very true.
But it goes away. It does, and especially with stand up. You get a few hot years, and you're the guy, and people want to see you in arenas. And then at one point, they're like, "Hey, who else is out there?" It's a natural. I mean, it happens with bands. I just rediscovered the Dead again, and I was like, "Oh, well, they went away from me."
It's mind-blowing when you see them, and I always remind myself, that'll be you at some point. So, like, have some perspective on what's going on. Remember what really matters, but also enjoy it while it's here. But I live with that. I live with, like, and the other thing I struggle with, and may ask you if you do this too, do you worry about you're going to lose momentum? Like, saying no to things?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't say no to anything. I don't say no. I also like the challenge. I've done projects that you would roll your eyes at. I did a show finding the world's best dancing dog. It was as interesting as it just sounded. But I feel like I watch people say no, and I watch things go away for them. I watch dudes who had hot, sexy careers. I was just texting in my friend group, with a guy who had the hottest career. And then he was just like, I'm the coolest guy here. And then it kind of went away for him, and he's struggling to get it back. And then you're just going like, maybe if you hadn't been so precious and you had said, I'd love to do that college or that casino or that, maybe I'd take everything as an opportunity. It's a gift. First of all, a lot of comics, I can only talk about comedy, but a lot of comics forget we did it for free.
Yeah.
We did it for free. If someone wants to give you $100,000 to do stand-up, I don't know that there's – I mean, look, there's comics disagreeing with me listening to this, but, like, it's a pretty great deal.
Yeah. I had Dane Cook on the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes even when Dane was on, we talked about that thing that if you'd have told me at one point that Dane would – Dane acknowledges this, like, Dane was so hot, and then at some point he was not hot, right? And now watching him, go get that back again. But, like, his reverence for that time when it was good, too. It's like I don't want to say no to things that I think could keep things rolling in my life. One thing I want to ask you a couple things about you, like, because I want to understand you. I understand, like, the complexity of you and the drinking and the partying and the success and all the worrying and all that, because I relate to 90% of that. But why are you so successful? Like, what's the thing with you? Is it like, because most of you that don't know this story, and we're not going to get into it today, but, like, it took him a long time. And he wasn't even really doing stand-up even that long ago consistently as a career. In the real world, it wasn't that long ago. What is it? Like, don't be humble. Like, what's the thing with you? Is it that you, like, connect with everyday people? Like, is it, like, I know you're funny, right? But, like, is it like, hey, man, I'm rooting for that dude because I see me in him? What is the thing about you? Is it the work ethic? What is it that's made you in that seat right now ahead of almost everybody in your entire industry?
I think I'm sure there's a lot of aspects of this, but I'll tell you the one thing I know that I have that not a lot of my peer groups have is I don't mind failing.
Huh.
Like, I'll give you a subtle example. A subtle example is Instagram. I took to Instagram pretty early, and I started editing videos and putting up videos, and I took to Instagram stories very early, and I didn't mind posting, and because I thought if no one sees it, then it's not really a failure because no one saw it.
Yep.
But if people see it, then it's a success. They're just going to see the successes. The best example of this I can give is Hot Summer Nights Tour. So the pandemic hits. My special drops on the 2 days after stay-at-home orders, which is the greatest gift anyone can ever be given.
Everyone's sitting there.
Everyone in the country is asked to go home and not leave their house.
Yep.
And I'm on Netflix with Tiger King.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's you and Tiger King.
It was me and Tiger King. Yeah. Tom was the next week. I mean, it was like really insane luck. But it's going to go away. I got to keep my momentum. I said, I want to go on tour. We got to find a way to do this. And I reached out to my agents, my managers, and I said, find me drive-in movie theaters. See if we can do it at drive-in movie theaters. I'm very adaptable. I love trying to problem solve. I love giving parameters of artistic things and then being able to work around it or come up with a cheat code to get myself the thing I need. I love that energy. It helps inspire my creativity. And I said, get me drive-in movie theaters. And they said, that's not a thing. And I said, I know it's a thing. They're there. See if you can get them. And they did all the work. They found a EDM company who was doing live outdoor shows. Okay. We connected with them, Hotbox, and we did one. And I had the biggest names in comedy. I won't say names, but
give us one.
Tom.
Okay.
Tom's exact words: "Do not do this. Do not. This is not a good idea. You're going to be a guinea pig, and no one wants to be a guinea pig." His exact words: "No one wants to be a guinea pig." And I thought, you don't succeed, maybe Tom does, but I don't succeed by not failing a couple times. And I was like, you know what? In my head, I said, I'll do 1 weekend of it, 4 shows. If I like it, I'll do more. If I don't, no one saw it. Maybe.
Great point.
Yeah, I was like, and I thought also, if they don't go well, I also have control of my narrative. I will post what I want on social media, and it'll look fun. It was something I tried. I didn't do more of them. I'm in and out. I did on the very first night. We were in North Carolina in a rock quarry in a drive-in movie theater that could only be described as 1950s picturesque. I mean, the way FDR planted America getting together. Yeah. I don't even know if FDR's right, but And it was amazing. I shot drone shots. It was sold out. People were down the street, like for 3 miles in their cars. And I said, line them up. I ended up doing 60 cities. I ended up doing like 90-something shows.
Wow.
I mean, I did the whole, and I won a number of awards. I got the comedy's Innovative Creative Impact. I won Damn the Torpedoes. And by the way, Winston Churchill's like a hero of mine. So the Damn the Torpedoes fucking energy of Damn the Torpedoes, full steam ahead. Wow. Fuck it. They're coming anyway. Yeah. Let's just start moving forward. I love that energy, and it was, and I think that changed my career because, number one, I put on great shows. I had a great time. I had fun. I had a fucking blast. But it gave me the confidence to realize I have to just go with my decisions, not listen to anyone, and do what I want to do. And then I started Fully Loaded. I did a cruise. No comics were doing cruises. I did a cruise. This is our 3rd year of Fully Loaded coming up. And no, I'm the only, if I'm not mistaken, I'm the only comedian-run festival ever. Owned and run. I own it myself. I run it myself. And I watched other people do that in their careers, like Rogan doing his podcast, getting fucking Fleshlight. Everyone told him no, but Rogan believed in it. And I thought, well, I just got to believe in the things I believe in. And I think that's been my one strong suit, is just going, just fuck it, I'll do it. Whether it's the dance video. I mean, I said to Joe, Tom, and Ari, this Sober October, let's do hip-hop dance. Joe was like, absolutely not. Tom was like, Ari was like, I think it's cool. But none of them could agree. And so I said, fuck it, I think it's a good idea because I know that I watch him online, so I'm going to do a hip-hop dance video. I got Dee Glazer for $1,200. She taught me a dance. I said I'll run my tour dates to the side of it. Put it up, sold out a tour in 15 minutes. The video went viral. Tom then goes back and invests $40,000 in a dance video of his own, sells out his tour, and then all of a sudden, promo videos become something everyone's doing. Now, I'm not saying I created it. I definitely didn't create it. But like that energy of like, I'm not going to listen to anybody. And the other thing is, you know, I believe in just start and it'll happen. Is just start. The other day I did a Thanksgiving Day video that went out. It had the most shares I've ever had on any video. We released it. It was my I'm Your Sherpa drinking on the longest partying day of the season. I went in and I said, don't overthink it. Just turn on a camera. We'll figure it out. And we shot it in like 30 minutes and just shot it. Just shoot it. Just do it. Just post it. If no one saw it, no one will be talking about it. But they saw it. They're talking about it. Everyone's hitting me up. It's fantastic. Yep. Just do it. Just shoot it. I got a marching band come to my house one time for $1,200 to announce a tour. And Leanne's like, what are we going to do with them? I go, we'll figure it out. It's a marching band. I mean, it can't go wrong. I said to them, what song can you guys play? All you guys. And they were like, Rubber Band Man? I go, cool. Line up around my pool.
You know what? What you just said is what's helped me become whatever level of success I've had. It's like I don't have to know everything before I begin. I'll start. And I have this, now for me, it's a faith thing, but I'm like, God will find the answer for me somewhere in the room. I'm just going to get in the room. Once I get in that room, I'll find the door into the next one. I'll find the door into the next one. And if I don't, that's okay. The thing you said that's also brilliant, we think everyone's going to remember all our failures. If you're not successful, no one's going to remember it.
No one talks about it.
That's the whole entire point. I'll tell you the other thing that's helped me, and this is going to sound weird. We don't have that much more time, but like, I love your brain. You should do more stuff like this because people are pulling things out of you.
I feel like what happens when you're a comic is like, you see this with big names, is they start leaning to the serious more than funny. And I have to remind myself that I'm just funny. Like I'm just funny. Like I listen to all you guys for inspiration and I apply it the way I apply it. And maybe it's broken, but like, thank you very much for the compliment. But yeah,
I mean, like, I think every once in a while, every year or two, you like you said about Journey, it's like, why am I successful? What is the stuff that I'm good at? What is the stuff that I'm not so good at? Like, I don't want to see you doing a serious podcast because you are funny and we're not, right? So, like, that's your gift. But at the same time, because you are funny, you reach a lot of people, man, who could use the help that will look at someone like me, like, my audience is my audience. But some people's like, I don't want to listen to this dude who's, thinks he's got all of his act together. I want to listen to the dude who I know doesn't, and the things that he's doing to hold it all together and become successful. There's something super powerful about that. Let me ask you one last question on it. And I mean that, like, take care of yourself. You're You're way more of an important dude in people's lives than you realize because you have a lot of confidence. And I know that there's probably this side of you that people are like, hey, man, don't get too big. But there's this other part of you, bro. You have such deep humility. I love people that have both of those things. They're super confident, but they got a lot of humility. If someone was listening to this, they're like, hey, man, you chased your dream. Like, you had no idea. You're just a dude in college. And by the way, everybody, I want to reinforce this. If you have not seen The Machine on Netflix, you have to go see this movie. It's a ride, and it's one of those movies like you don't really want it to end. Every minute of it is entertaining. Every single minute of this movie is entertaining. It's funny, but it's a real story. I'm sure it's jived up a little bit. It's so good, and all of his Netflix specials. Razzle Dazzle is out right now, but like all of them are awesome. Go check his stuff out. But let me ask you this last. If someone was listening to this, they're like, hey, man, I would like to pursue my dream too, but I have a lot of anxiety. I got a lot of worry. I got a lot of imposter syndrome. I got all this stuff that you've described that you still have, and you made it anyway. What advice would you give to somebody who's like sitting there going, whatever it is, they want to open a bakery, whatever it is, right? They want to start painting. What would you say to them?
Ooh. First of all, the procrastination's the best part. Mm-hmm. Like, just don't worry about the time you've spent procrastinating. That's all the build-up stuff. Those are the muscles you're getting to get you to where you need to be. Because I procrastinated just like you did. I'd had great ideas and didn't know where to pitch them and didn't know what to do with them. And then one day you're going to stop giving a fuck what everyone else says. But you got to let that happen for you. You got to let yourself say, I'm not going to tell my friends this idea. They're just going to shit on it. And you just got to say, fuck it. You really got to say, fuck it, and go, I'm going to try it. I don't care if they make fun of me. That's part of the process also. Let them make fun of me. Half them making fun of me is going to put me in the right direction anyway. But you got to say, fuck it. You got to go after it. I think sometimes had I never got on stage or had I never answered that phone Rolling Stone magazine called, had I never taken the balls it's the same thing about getting in the goddamn polar plunge. Yep. That energy is real. You do not want to do it. You're standing on the edge of the pool. All those moments on the edge of the pool are just as valuable as the moments in the pool. Respect the edge of the pool as much as you do inside the pool. And let yourself sit with it. Be scared. Do not want to do it. Lay in your bed, roll around. I don't want to fucking go in. This is it. I'm fucking putting all my eggs in this basket. And then once you jump in, go all the way deep. Get your head under. Don't just put your toe in it. Go all the way deep and fucking charge it. You get one shot at this life. And if you leave anything on the table, it's just left on the table. You don't get to take it with you.
The hell just happened today? Like,
no.
You become like a philosopher of all good things, and also like you guys. I'm just going to say this to you all. First off, thank you.
No,
this is why I do the show right here. First off, a lot of you know BERT KREISCHER. You didn't know all of this stuff today. That's number one. Hopefully we get things out of people that other people don't get.
People are going to be like, start drinking again. Jesus Christ, man.
No, I mean it, man. Like, there's a depth to you. People aren't successful at the level BERT's successful at by mistake. And a lot of times what I love watching people come on the show and do, they start realizing there's things about them that are pretty damn amazing that they didn't realize before they started having to talk out loud about it. And a lot of the advice you gave today is phrased differently than I would phrase it, but it's exactly what I would say if I had the wisdom that you have, especially the last part right there. And I just want you to know, man, like, you got a friend in me.
Buddy, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I will take you up on that friendship.
Yeah, I mean that. I got a friend here, and I would anything I can ever do to help you. The world needs more of you, man. I think you're the most talented of the most talented.
Well, I am such a fan of yours. So to hear you say that is like, it's surreal to be sitting across from you.
Yeah, bro, you crushed this today. Everybody, listen to me. Go follow everything BERT if you don't already. Share the show today. This is one of those where you're like, hey, this is not the normal Ed Mylett show episode, and you need to hear this. And it's an all-timer for me. It's an all-timer. I'm so grateful that you came, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, God bless you, everybody. Max out.